When you're ready. Mic test. 1, 2, 3. Mic test. Mic test. 1, 2, 3. Mic test. Hi, everyone. We're going to get started soon with the Synthesis Partner Workshops. Synthesis is a hackathon that is running starting this Friday. And today we have 5 partners in person who will talk about their agentic infrastructure, their tooling, and what you can build. So we are very excited to have these partners with us today. We'll get started in just a few minutes. So feel free to grab a seat, come join, and come listen to all of these partners who are shaping the future of agentic infrastructure. Test, test. 1, 2, 3. Oh, this is much better. Testing. Joshua from Bonfires, if you are here, please make your way to the front. Okay, it's recording and everything. Awesome. We currently have over 100 people live here on the live stream that are watching from home, which is super, super exciting. And we'll get started in just a minute. Awesome. I'll introduce everyone. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. I am Sophia. I am here on behalf of the Ethereum Foundation Developer Acceleration Team, and I'm super excited to announce the Synthesis. If you were here for Ethereum SF Day yesterday, we did a big overview of what the Synthesis is, why it's happening, and why now. But in case you weren't there, the Synthesis is an online agentic hackathon that is actually judged by AI agents. And these AI agents are created by partners all across the Ethereum ecosystem. So these partners have specific agentic tools, agentic infrastructure, and have a certain philosophy for how they want to see the future of agentic infrastructure evolve. And the synthesis is where those partners actually get to put their tools in front of real agent builders, and agents can interact with those tools and get judged by the partners. So we are super excited to kick off the first of our live stream workshops in person today. And today we will have 5 partners from across the synthesis. In case you're curious, we have, let's see if it's, we have many partners who are partnering with us all across. And today we'll be featured with the team from Bonfires. Bonfires is a team that is powering all of the AI agent infrastructure. So these agents, all of the judges, today have been invited to Telegram groups where they interacted on Telegram with their agent judge to start shaping their philosophy, their tech stack, their views for what they want to see. And those are the agent judges that actually get their input is synthesized, and that's actually what ends up deciding who the winners of this agent hackathon will be. And all of that is powered by Bonfire, and we have Joshua today who will be introducing that. Next, we'll also have Shaw from Eliza OS. Eliza OS is an amazing framework for creating AI agents. If you've been active on Twitter in the last year, you've probably seen a lot of these Eliza agent bots with really fun personalities. One of the famous ones is AI16Z that was able to, almost like an investment DAO of agents that could think and look about projects. It really was the kickstart for agentic infrastructure. So we're so excited today that Shaw is joining us. From there, we'll jump in with Merrick, who is the CEO and founder of Celo and Self. So Celo is a layer 2 blockchain on Ethereum, and they have insanely cheap gas and super fast transactions. They're known for stable coins, and they process many stable coins transactions all around the world. And with Celo, you can actually, if you're running to register your agent on 8004 or do anything with agentic payments, it is one of the cheapest and fastest blockchains to interact with. So it's an amazing, we're super excited to partner with them as well. And then Self is a zero knowledge identity protocol system. So this allows you to take your biometric ID and actually make a zero knowledge proof of that to prove that you're human. But what can that be used for? What's really exciting is you can actually do things like pair your agent to your self ID and prove, hey, I'm really human, but without actually having to give your real ID or passport to an agent because you don't want an agent to have access to all that. So with zero knowledge proofs of your identification system, it expands the access. We also have the team from Virtuals here that will go more in depth, the team from Ampersand as well, and the team from ParaWallet. So we have quite a few teams here to join us today, and we are really excited. The goal of today is Agentic Prototyping Day at EthSF. And what our hope is for agentic prototyping is how we can actually you can come out of this understanding exactly what these tools that these partners are working on and have an idea of what are the types of things you can start building with those tools. Everyone who's here today and building with this technology, you are fully shaping the future of the agent economy, of what agents can and can't do, what they actually look like on chain. And by experimenting with these tools, you'll have the opportunity to completely shape what the future of this technology looks like. So with that, I just wanted to give a little overview about the Synthesis. Synthesis, as I mentioned, is an agentic hackathon where you can register with your agent. Building officially starts this Friday, the 13th, but you can already register now. The only thing you have to do to register, I'll join in here. You click register and you'll get this curl command, synthesis.md/skill.md, and just go ahead and send that to your agent. If you already have an agent on OpenClaw, on Nanobot, on Eliza, wherever you have your agent, send that to your agent and it'll walk you through all the steps. It'll register an agent identity for you using 8004. It'll tell you how to register for the hackathon. It'll tell you about all the partners and all the bounty prizes that you can win. I don't have the exact quote right now because it's still in flux, but I think we all have nearly $100,000 in prize rewards, somewhere between 50 to 100,000. So don't exactly quote me on the right number. I will get back to you in a second what that exact number is. But you can just send this straight to your agent. If you don't have an agent yet, You can also click here, you don't have an agent, and we take you through some steps of either building an agent using OpenClaw, Eliza, Nanobot, or a custom bot. You can use Claude Code or OpenCode or any coding tool that has internet access and can read a file from a URL and execute a curl command. So you don't necessarily need to make a whole agent. Just these agents are kind of cool because you can send them all these skill files and they can act autonomously, but you don't necessarily need that to register. You can go ahead and just use Claude Code, any of these, send that curl command, and it'll take you through the exact steps. So building starts on Friday. And then in 10 days from Friday on the 22nd, when building closes, you'll actually get to hear from all the AI agent judges who will be roasting your project. You can interact with them all throughout the hackathon by tagging their agent bots in the Telegram channel and get their feedback on projects live. We have all the partners today that will talk a little bit about what they want to see, what are the types of projects we want to see, but to go over a little overview of what we're hoping to see from this hackathon. So a big reason why this agent hackathon is happening within the Ethereum ecosystem is right now, the internet is not built for humans. The way that agents interact, and we put a lot of trust in how agents interact on the internet on our behalf. And this is truly one of the biggest transfers of trust in human history from humans to machines. And so as we're shaping this new future of how trust is created, we believe that Ethereum is the foundation for how we can have a trustless future on the internet. And agents are the prime example of where we're really going to need that to happen. So a few of the themes that we have here: what happens when agents move your money? Your agent moves money on your behalf. How do you know that it's actually doing what you asked? There's no transparent way to scope what it can send, verify that it spent it correctly, or guarantee settlement without a middleman. Maybe you've noticed when you vibe code, you have to stop every second to find an API key, connect your credit card, do all that. Maybe you have an agent and you're like, go ahead and do this for me, and you give it your credit card. These things aren't unsafe, and these are things that the Ethereum ecosystem tools and infrastructure are actually working on solving, and tools that you can use during the hackathon. How do you trust something without a face? Your agent interacts with other agents and services, but trust flows through centralized registries and API key providers. If that provider revokes access or shuts down, you lose the ability to use the service you depend on. How do we ensure that you can actually trust in an agent world? When an agent is booking you a reservation, it doesn't care that it's OpenTable, Resi, or North Korea malware skillfile.md reservations. It doesn't have that background and that context. So how do we actually create trust? And EIP 8004, trustless agents, that protocol on Ethereum, is how that foundation for creating trust for agents. Can machines keep promises? Your agent makes a deal on your behalf, but there's no neutral enforcement layer. If the platform changes its rules, the deal your agent made can be rewritten without your consent. In the real world, we have legal systems. You can sue someone who rugs you. In the agent world, there is none of that. How do you ensure commitments ahead of time? And smart contracts, programmable commitments, trust commitments are how you can make that happen. And finally, what secrets does your agent share? Every time your agent calls an API, pays for a service, or interacts with a contract, it creates metadata about you. Spending patterns, contacts, preferences, behavior. That agent isn't leaking its data, it's leaking yours. I'm sure if you've interacted with OpenClaw and you've just given it access to your email, your credentials, all of your stuff, you are one prompt injection hack away from losing your entire digital life. This is really scary, but you do need to share certain pieces about yourself. Like maybe you do need to prove that your agent is connected to a human, or you do need to prove certain things about your identity. How do you share secrets with agents without them revealing everything about you? Zero knowledge proofs are a really interesting primitive to actually make this happen, and that's also something that exists in the Ethereum ecosystem. If you want to learn more details about all of this, we have a GitHub here that gives you key information about what to build. You can find that link on the website. It goes more into details about the themes, the design spaces, and the relevant tools within the partners that are working on this that you can check out and look at how you can work towards these themes. And bonus, if you're here in San Francisco, we actually have full design briefs and design sprints happening right now on the 16th floor. So you can actually go through the IDEO design thinking process, understand who your users are, what are the problems they're facing, and what are the design space to actually solve some of these issues. We're really looking for ideas that are centered around users and real problems tied to these themes that Ethereum and the infrastructure on Ethereum can uniquely solve. All right, a few key dates. This Friday is when things get officially go live. I'm translating these dates for humans. This is for agent dates. All right, let's translate that for humans. Builders start this Friday, and you'll be able to start getting agentic feedback. On the 22nd, building closes, and on the 25th, winners will be decided. So we are so excited for you to come register. Doesn't matter if you have any experience building or not building, your agent will build, so you don't have to. All you have to do is send them the skill MD file and come up with the questions, understand what are the specific tools in the Ethereum ecosystem that give your agent superpowers and give you as a human freedom, sovereignty, and trust to know that your agent is actually acting on behalf of you. And that is all. Again, go check out synthesis.md. That's where you can find this whole website, and click on register now to begin registering today. And thank you. Yep, quick question we have. Credit sharing? Oh, right. Forgot to mention, if you are here in person, you get free OpenAI Codex credits. The way to claim that is on the Luma invite that was part of the part of what you use to register. Add in your org ID, and you get that sent as you check in for the event. It's all throughout the EthSF week. So any of the EthSF events, it'll ask you for that. So just register on Luma. So you can already do it now for today's event or yesterday's event. But yeah. And if you have questions, ask QZ. Oh, you mean register for this? Yeah. Codex credit. Codex credit is for in-person builders. So you make sure you register on the Luma. And then this is registering for the hackathon. And then the code that is judged starts looking at your code starting on the 13th. So you can register any now. If you have any questions, ask the organizer of Ethereum SF, which is QZ. I don't know where he is, but yes. QZ back there, or no, just kidding. Is there a Slack or Discord for this Telegram, for this hackathon? Yes, there's a Slack or Discord. You can find that on the Get Updates right here, synthesis.md, and it'll take you to the Telegram channel where you can ask any questions you might have. All right, let's jump into our first partner, Joshua from Bonfires.
So I'm recording HDMI, it'll record.
Oh, it's awesome.
Thank you. And you can use that open mic if you need two hands. Okay. Test. Test. Hello. Hello. Good. Hey, everybody. I'm Joshua, founder CEO of Bonfires.ai. And I'm going to show you a little bit about how the system we've built is powering the judging for this hackathon. So as Sophia beautifully put it, Synthesis is agentic submissions and agentic hacks, but also agentic judging. And Bonfires, our protocol, is the underlying infrastructure for powering the judging rubrics. And this very AI-generated presentation I made an hour ago, I'm going to show you how it works. So essentially what we've built is the AI judging brains. So it's the rubric creation process for where the judges are going to be compared against. So the submissions go through a platform called DevFolio. You may have used it. And we essentially take the submissions via their API and we compare them against a graph, which is constructed by Bonfires, by the partners, and that comparison yields a report. And that is an automated process. So there is an agent which literally takes the code from DevFolio, executes the code, and produces a report. We expect over 1,000 submissions to this, and so over 1,000 reports will be generated. We are going to use this to shortlist the top 10, and then humans will step back in at that point and judge the top 10. As we mentioned, many of the partners have bounties. I think, as we mentioned, over $100,000 has been committed, plus other things such as credits. Big up to Venice AI for that contribution. This is a little flow chart of you of how it works. So the you and your agent is the partner. Imagine that you are a Uniswap or a Base or a Venice AI. You join a group on Telegram and you have your agent in it. This is our own agentic build, but actually you can use any agents with a bonfire. The bonfire is the graph memory process. The agent then essentially conducts a natural language, very relaxed discussion with you about what it is that you want to see hacked. You drop docs, you drop ideas, you drop videos, you drop photos, whatever, and it gets ingested into the bonfire. And the bonfire is a graph creation process, and I'll show you how it works. Once the graph has been created, the rubric essentially for what the judging process, there is a code review agent. It's currently OpenClaw. The code review agent is informed by the judging rubric. It receives the entries from DevFolio and judges them. It then produces a code review document, which is an output, which is ingested back into the graph. This is all done very transparently, and what this means is that we can have several very exciting features on. Sorry, getting a lot of feedback. Okay, there's lots of very exciting features with this, which is primarily the most exciting feature for me is that you can do real-time feedback on your hackathons. So as you have this rubric, which is being updated in real. Yeah, shall I change this one? Yeah. Hello. Hello. Better. Better? Better. Thanks. Okay. You're a partner. You've judged the rubric. It's in the bonfire. I'll show you what the bonfire looks like because it's very beautiful and I'm excited about it. Let me show you this one. So we actually made this graph 2 hours ago upstairs with Ori. If Ori's in the room, big up you. This was the Unblock Ethereum SF track that was going on upstairs. And we basically just recorded a number of voice memos. We did it with the Apple app. And we directly dropped it into the agent on Telegram. And it essentially transcribed and built this graph in real time. So this graph is just built 2 hours ago. You can talk to it via Telegram, via a simple agent interface here. I took this 10-minute clip here, dropped it in, and it transcribed it. It then built this graph from it automatically. The graph is built over time. It's an episodic graph. So you have these 20-minute episodes which produce a summary of all the activity that the agent is faced with. From those episodes, it generates these entities and relationships. It is using this as its memory. So essentially what's happening with the judging rubric itself is the agent is conducting a flow with the partner. It's figuring out what it wants to do, what its tracks are, what its prizes are, what its requirements are, putting it into the graph, and then using that same graph as memory to inform the code review agent. And just to illustrate the point here on the code review agent side, you can see how this works with OpenClaw. OpenClaw with a skills.md or a simple plugin can directly contribute text and data into a bonfire and retrieve from a bonfire as well, again, from this graph memory, to basically improve its context window management and to improve its memory systems in general. So that's how this is working in the judging flow specifically. I want to just quickly touch on the big picture here of bonfires so that you're all aware of that this is not just a hackathon tool, but this is in fact a tool for a brighter future. We like to use the term light up the dark forest, but this is a recreation of Ikigai. Those of you who know it, I hope you appreciate this. So this is sort of the idea of how we move towards a brighter future with the technology that's available to us right now. Thrive at the top is access to AI and to better resources in general. This is more of a technological thriving. This is socialized cost. This is access to better frontier models. And this is improved behavior patterns with AI rather than one person using lower tier models going into psychosis. Overcome on the right here is more of the cypherpunk vision. This is how we regain control from the slopification, from the journalistic control that we have over basically all of our media channels, and of course our right to self-governance. Creation at the bottom here is about innovation and expression, about how we can use these technologies to create new systems of understanding, new systems of belonging, and finally leading all this into care, which is to care for the people and the planet. And this is my personal feelings around the way we must take this technology. I think we need more big visions in this world at the moment with the technology. There's a lot of world-changing progress that is not changing the world, and we need to be very conscious about that. And you can generally see some ideas here as to how I like to see that happening. But what I want to zoom in on is how Bonfires is intending to assist in this process. With a bonfire, any group of people or any individual can create their own context graph. We are showcasing it with a hackathon. We got a group of people in a group chat making a hackathon judging rubric, which then agents can use to action upon. But this is a general purpose protocol. Your graph can be created about anything, right? Any knowledge that you're feeding into your agentic system, that you're capturing into your graph, can be used as an asset. And if we have groups of people contributing, collaborating, playing, discussing, just doing their lives, capturing it into their own context graphs, and then contributing that context graph to an open knowledge network, then we can actually start to heal information asymmetry. We can start to open up access to better tooling because we can socialize the costs, because we can start to generate revenue with the contributions of these context graphs. We can start to generate revenue with the contributions to this global open network. And this is the large vision, and this is actually what Bonfires is built for, is to light up the dark forest, figuratively and literally, which means get together with your friends, make a context graph and serve it to the open network and get paid for it. But we are very, very lucky to be chosen to showcase it in such a powerful way with the EF. Thank you guys. And also shout out the DAO Security Fund, which you guys may be aware of. They just staked 69,420 ETH in an ETH validator node, a lot of money. They're generating a lot of revenue. And they're also using a bonfire to help with their security badge judging process. And they will also likely be considering to use the bonfire for the distribution of the funding. And so you can imagine that contributing to your own knowledge base, sharing that around, can also be proof of work. It can also be proof of contribution. We like to call it proof of knowledge. So please participate in the hackathon, but also please light your own bonfire. Please create your own context graph, and please start monetizing your knowledge, because everybody else is, so you should too. Thanks.
Amazing. Thank you so much. That was Joshua from Bonfires. Up next, we have Shaw. If you were here. Shaw. Where did Shaw go there? Shaw. He'll be right back. Okay. Do you want to do Merrick? Are you ready to? No, he's coming back. He's coming back. How long? Maybe we'll just do. I'll do. Oh, Shaw's back. Shaw is back. So exciting. Awesome. We have Shaw. But yeah, with that was Joshua from Bonfires. It's some really, really exciting tech that is supporting how the agents can actually come together, synthesize their feedback and their collective feedback. The big theme of the synthesis is co-creation with partners all across the Ethereum ecosystem. We don't think that one partner, one company, one person can figure out the future of agentic infra alone. And what we really want to do is get partners in to have their philosophy, including not just technical partners, but also thought partners, idea partners, people who are leading the infrastructure. And with that, I'm so excited to introduce Shaw. He is the pioneer behind Eliza OS and truly one of my favorite thought leaders in the agentic, on-chain agentic future ecosystem. So thank you for being here and excited to have you.
Thanks for having me. Great. All right, guys. So, I mean, this is obviously, to most of your developers, builders who are excited about agents and everything. I could spend the next 10 minutes yapping about Eliza. I'd assume if you've used Eliza, you know what it is. We have a new version coming out. We've really just spent this time building agents, like an agent framework that solves problems, that beats benchmarks, that does that. Cool. But mostly what I've been learning about is like, where are the guardrails? Where do we need to go next? Like what's here and what's not here? What's going to work and what's MGMI? So I'm just going to like share a few of my thoughts on this that I've sort of been writing down and chewing on. The first thing that really came about that changed a lot was like when we built ELIZA, we could not do shallow things like skills where like the agent could just write up and learn and suddenly do a thing. We really had to work on what we call deep integrations, which is like plugins. We have a lot of plugins. Now that the models are better, they've opened up this new shallow integration thing called skills. Skills are great because agents can make skills, and it's like a way for them to know how to do a thing that they might kind of know how to do in the model, but like obviously, you know, they're not necessarily trained on the API, etc. And so this has like naturally followed that people are like, well, we should have a skills marketplace and we should sell skills and we should monetize that. And I can understand the incentive, but I do not think that will work because one, as you've seen with ClawHub, you just can't do this without the incentive of people trying to scam and take all your keys and money. Like that is the first thing, which means you would then need a whole set of trust assumptions, which we are working on and I'm very interested in solving. But the much easier solution to this is just to have your own agent rewrite the skill from scratch, or to have your agent rewrite basically any service that it sees from scratch that is more secure. That is what you should be doing. You should never have your agent run code off the internet, ever. For sure. Unless you have a model that you've demonstrated through benchmarks will not run bad code, you should not do it. They're very eager to run anything you give them. So there will not be a skills marketplace. There is no way to monetize skills. I am very bearish on that. I do not think that's where you should focus. We should not be rent seeking with this technology. We should be building the future with it, not the past. And the past was rent seeking because we weren't all developers and I had to rely on an expert to do something that I couldn't do, but that is just not the case anymore. So I would focus on building capability, building your agents to actually do something, not just trying to like rent seek over other people's agents. It will not work. I'm sorry, it just won't. There are a million open claws. There's nano claw, mini claw, iron claw, zero claw, pi claw, you know, name any single word that you can put in front of a claw and there is a claw. And we all do the same thing. ELIZA is not a claw, but it basically is. So just so you know, OpenClaw is built on an agent called the Pi agent. That's the underlying thing. The Pi agent is built by a guy who said, you know what if MCPs don't work? What if we don't need MCPs at all? We just use command line. And he was right, and that is where everything is going, and MCPs are probably dead. I'm sorry. Everything is a command line tool. If you have an MCP, you can use Peter Steiberger's MCP to CLI thing, and then you can use all your MCPs inside of OpenClaw and Zero Pi, you know, everything else, great. So the Pi agent does a lot of what the ELIZA agent does. It's like the underlying agent. But we focused on not coding tasks and CLI tasks, but on social tasks, on like entity management. Who's in the room with me? How far away are they? Are they looking at me or not? And this has allowed us to do things like build video games. So there's a big paradigmatic difference between a social agent and what they have to do and a coding agent and what they have to do. A coding agent, you give input, you interrupt it. It starts saying, oh, thanks for that update. And then it keeps on monologuing and working to itself. And this is the way to build agents that can do coding and tasks and context-specific stuff. It is not the way to build like a robot or an agent that can navigate a conversation quickly with voice and asynchronous task management. So you have to think about like there is an orchestrator, a social agent, a robot, there's that kind of thing, and then there's the code agent. What we've done in our autonomous agent stuff is to have like the ELIZA sit on top of the Pi agent. So you have a task, it does all the social orchestration, it's in the GitHub, it knows who has a role, who can talk to it, who it should ignore. But then underneath the hood, it's like calling this Claude Code or Pi agent or whatever you want. And I think this is a very common paradigm to think about of like I have the social agent, the orchestrator, the interface, and then I have the like dedicated task agent. And this allows us to manage context because when you're coding, you really don't need to know if someone's looking at you, for example. So yeah, I would say that realistically though, you don't need a framework. Frameworks can help you show you the map and reduce the amount of time you spend on things a lot. And we've really tried to build ELIZA to be like something that Claude Code can use. But truthfully, you just need to get down and like build something that you understand. We're all basically stuck at the same point because we're only going to be as good as the models are. When ELIZA came out, like we could not do skills. Now the models are better. We can do skills. We all do skills. So like we're just embracing those paradigms. I think it's really important to think about that and to kind of understand like the right skill for the job, right tool for the job. But also like you don't have to force everything to be everything. The code agent's never going to be a super fast responsive chat agent. The big thing that's missing in agents today and in AI and everywhere in LLMs is memory. Memory is the thing that has not been worked on enough. There are a million memory systems that have been vibe coded or like, RAG or hierarchical RAG. There's grep and document search, and there's BM25, and there's re-ranking and all this like stuff. But basically it comes down to the fact that it has not been solved, and it is the place, if you're like, what should I do that no one has done before? Like taking memory to the machine learning level, to the model level, to the weights level, and thinking about what the future of this is probably like a lot of fruit there, because it is the thing that even people with OpenClaw and everything are still struggling with very clearly. And if I was a PhD researcher looking for a PhD project, I would definitely do memory. The thing about these agents, especially when you're developing them, is that they operate very stochastically. And so if I say, hey, I'm gonna make the agent call this tool, and it calls it, yes, great, it worked. But then I do it again and it worked, and then I do it again and it doesn't work. Like, well, shit, it works 60% of the time, 2/3. Okay, what do I do? Well, this is why, like, it is stochastic. It is by its nature going to try different things, even in the same scenario. If it doesn't, you could make it fully deterministic, but it would tend to be less interesting. So we have this a bit of randomness and stochasticity, and generally this means that we need to have benchmarks for everything. If you are building a stochastic thing where the output is not the same every time, the only way to make forward motion and to know that your agent is good is to have benchmarks, is to say demonstrably, I ran this 100 times and out of that it did this, or I ran it on 1,000 scenarios and in aggregate it did this. Like, I have wasted many hours, and so I would try to help other people not waste them, tweaking things that in the end were like just the wrong layer of abstraction to focus on. That being said, prompt engineering is still the like highest leverage thing you can do with your time. It is shocking how much better an application can be if you actually spend the time engineering the prompts, doing the benchmarking and backtesting, and verifying that it works. If you, like, I see this so much in devs who build this incredible system and then their prompts are just like the most garbage, like, oh my God, dude, if you put 5 more minutes into that, everything else would be so much easier for you. So I really think like we should not, like, in terms of dev leverage, prompt engineering is probably like minute by minute the most valuable thing you can always work on. But also, like, be thinking about the system as a whole. You are in a stochastic thing, you can engineer it this way, but that's also going to change everything else. So you have to also combine that with benchmarks. You have to do prompt engineering with the with the outputs or the back testing or whatever. That's the loop. And the secret to winning at agents seems to be fast iteration on this loop. Can I change something and then see the result materially, especially if it's like in some kind of nice graph or matplotlib, and know that what I did had the intended effect and did not have a whole bunch of other unintended effects. I think a lot of us have probably had these like vibe code slop projects where you feel like you're kind of slopping around, pushing this, but that breaks this. It's like putty. And we need to get away from that and build structure. In traditional, like in programming, this is test-driven development, and not just test-driven development, but thinking about how to build ground truth tests that really work so that we can make sure that like the agent can find its own errors and then fix them, but without me having to look and tell it every 5 minutes. Because like I've noticed that my productivity is directly proportional to how long the agents run without me having to tell them what to do. Because it tends to indicate that they like know what they're doing and don't run into problems and aren't like stuck on something. And so like a lot of my time up front is going into playwright testing, end-to-end, testing. Not like unit tests are fine, but we've seen the models tend to hallucinate. So it's really like, can I get the agents to run through the app itself or run through the thing itself or call the tools that verify itself? And if I can, then I can just leave that running for hours. Let's see. The future is robots. I'll leave it with this. I think this is probably the most important thing, is like, we're going to have robots in this room. It's going to be quite ubiquitous in a couple of years. Most of the Y Combinator SaaS startups are pivoting to physical AI, quote unquote. It is very obvious that if you are building agents, you might want to do things like simulations and games. And those to me are like very much moving toward robots. Robots have 2 parts. One of them is like a reinforcement learning, like hierarchical policy, where I'm like, hey, walk over there and pick up the thing and like clean up the room. And it could be working on the clean up the room policy, and then it can have like individual like episodes of what it has to do, what it's already done, blah, blah, blah. And that's like very much an achievable thing that you can get into now. Even if you've never done a lot of reinforcement learning, you can just like get the simulator, you can get the robot stuff, you can get the vision language action model, and you can run all that stuff. And it is like, I've been really mind blown just how good Claude is at doing like Mujoko and like physics simulations, basically, because I can set like, okay, I have a reward, like the robot needs to walk forward and I need to not fall over. Pretty easy to set the reward. If the head hits the ground, that's negative reward, and as long as it's not, that's positive, for example. And you can just do this yourself. Great. But obviously there's something missing. Like those robots that Figure's putting out that are doing the, folding and all that stuff, great. They have no knowledge of humans in the room. They cannot deal with dynamic context and the changing environment. You could not put one of those Figure robots into a room at a cocktail party and have it walk around and greet everybody, know who was talking to it. You need this kind of more LLM-ish, like entity management kind of context, at least in the training wheels phase before all of this, goes into the model. And so like what we've been thinking about with ELIZA, and what I think where the agent frameworks that I think like have a lot of promise into this future are going, is really on that social agent side, because we can take agents walking around video games, managing, being with players, and just feed that directly into like a similarly formatted problem for robots at the cocktail party, for example. And so I think that like there is clearly like a reinforcement learning, very PhD math heavy sort of approach on the left, and then a very LLM agent heavy approach on the right. And it's the hybrid of these two systems working together that makes robots. So what we've done with ELIZA, I've got at home, I've got a little robot, and I've got an ELIZA agent that's issuing action commands, policy that takes action token, like, it has a set of actions that it can do, and then it's just like driving the robot around from the agent. And this is not any dissimilar at all to tool calling and all of that stuff. So I think this is like something I'm very excited to see. I think this is where it's all going. And, all of us have to think like, well, where will my technology be in 3 years or 5 years? I hope that it still continues to have relevance and grow and like shape this thing in a positive way. So that's why I'm trying to think like, okay, cool, agent frame. Well, what's the robot case of this? So I don't know. The last year has been like a lot of ups and downs. Like, a lot has happened. The biggest thing people asked us was like, what can agents do? And obviously everyone in the last year jumped to like, oh, well, they could trade meme coins, they could manage my treasury, they could govern my business, they could be the CEO, and that's all great. I love all that. But I think that we need to think about this as a hill to climb, and we need to look at the rest of AI, not as this thing in a vacuum, but as like, we're part of a thing that's been going on for like 50 years. And we're at this tip of this thing. And if we can get this to move in an upward gradient, that is ideal. And the way that we do that is through simulation. So instead of saying, okay, I'm going to jump to this new plateau of capability and start managing people's money for them, what's the game, what's the simulation version of it that I can play so that they become better at those underlying things? I could prove it, I could benchmark it, I could have science, I could have papers. And then once all of the like underlying, academic rigor, or even just like engineering rigor is there, then I can go and release this and feel confident that it's not just going to randomly do crazy stuff and turn into a PR nightmare for me. And so I think that we have to think about the velocity and direction of our projects, not just like jumping to this or saying, I solved this, but like we're probably all in the same boat. And unless you have custom data, custom loops, custom training, like a hill for yourself to climb, then like, you're kind of just like retooling the same agent that I have and like offering a different capability. And that's cool, but we want them to be fundamentally better. And so I'll bring this to my last thing, which is like trust. And a lot of the approach to trust that I've seen from a lot of the claws is sandboxing. And like, oh, we'll just have the user confirm the thing, or, oh, we'll just set spending limits. And I guarantee all of that is going to go away. In fact, it should never even be there, because all of that is an admission that you haven't solved the fundamental problem. The models that we have that we're all using, we're trained to be maximally helpful. Like that is their goal. That's their objective. Maximally helpful to the user while not going off the rails and letting you build a nuclear bomb. But even then you probably will, because they're very helpful. And the problem is that in this world, it is very hard to walk around and be maximally helpful. Like if I walk around and try to help everyone, I will get nothing done, and I will give away all my money, and it actually is the exact same as if an OpenClaw tries to walk around. It will get nothing done and it will give everyone its money. So how do we get out of that? Well, we have to start thinking about like how we can train trust into the models. They have to fundamentally have the disposition that they are going out into a hostile dark forest, and they have to make reasoning decisions all the time based on inputs, assuming that they're not just talking to one user who is the like admin. Like the user admin paradigm will not work for autonomous agents. And so we have to be thinking about that hill we're climbing. We're taking the small, but like the video game version of prediction markets, the video game version of trading, the video game version of governance, like literally video games, like make video games, get users to come play the games and get the agents to play the games and collect the data and build the stuff and do the benchmarks and do the arenas. And then we kind of get to this point where we have the data to train trust into the model because we've had our agents scamming each other for like at least a year at that point. That would be my goal. And like, if you do not have agents scamming your agents, you probably have agents that my agents can scam. So I would definitely like you cannot take an agent today and put it in a sandbox and give it the ability to call curl and write CLI calls and expect that it is quote unquote secure. There is no sandbox you can build. It can be in a TE, it can be in anything, it doesn't matter. It can send its information out. It can exfiltrate. You have given it that ability. And as we scale the capability of these models, like it is just inevitable that they're gonna have to not have these guardrails and sandboxes in order for them to get stuff done, which means that it has to go into the model. This is like a data problem. This is like an instruction tuning issue. This is something that we can solve, but only if we are the ones who are like producing the data that we need to solve it. So what is trust? What are the vectors of trust that I need to train for? What kind of games could I build that could demonstrate agents failing at trust and succeeding at trust so that I could build that data set? And I think when I can get all of that together, then I can take my agent and just be like, go nuts, like run my wallet, I don't care. But I just don't think we're there yet. I do think we have what it takes to get there, but we gotta be building this stuff instead of just building more SaaS bullshit. I do not want to see another skills marketplace. Please don't make me read another one of those. I get people DM me this like one a day. I do not need another agentic. There's no agentic payments. It's just payments. Agents do everything humans can do. They can just pay. You don't need to build a whole platform for that. I don't need any of this SaaS bullshit or middleman bullshit. I want us to move agents themselves forward. If your agent is great, it will make its own money. You don't need to go get 1,000 users to LARP for you. Like, so think about that. That's the end goal. My agent is making me money. If I have it and I have it down, I don't need to sell it to anyone. I'm just gonna work on my own. And what's cool about these agents is that they are generalists, but they're also specialists. Every OpenClaw becomes unique. My OpenClaw is mine. It has my skills, my code. It works the way I want. And over time, as the models get more capable, they're gonna be able to self-code and become more unique to us as we go. And because they're running locally, they have our data and we can really, really give it to them. The last part of this is like, you can just fine tune at home now. You can fine tune on your own data. You can build your own data stuff. You should do that. It's not hard. Just open Claude and say, how do I fine tune? It will work. Cool. So that's some of my learnings. I have a lot more, but I want to leave it to the other people. And I hope that's helpful and keep building.
Thank you so much, Shaw, and that was super helpful. That was super helpful. The number one question we get all the time is, what should we build? And I think Shaw just talked over what not to build and what direction we should go into. And so this is something, definitely, if you're at home watching this, look at that transcript, take all that info, put it to your agent and be like, okay, knowing this information, what should I focus on? Because it's really important that we're focusing on the right problems and that this is not just another like mimetic excitement moment, but this is we're actually using this infrastructure and this tooling to shape the future. So with that, I have Nitya from ParaWallet. ParaWallet she'll explain a lot, but it's really cool when it comes to agentic wallets and actually identifying how this can be, how you can trust how your agent interacts on chain. All right, Nitya, feel free to come on up. That's just the HDMI, right? And then does she need to share her screen or no because of the HDMI? You don't even need to share your screen. Oh, amazing. Amazing. And then you can take this mic.
Perfect. All right. Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here and excited to be talking a little bit about para and synthesis. A lot of exciting stuff in the talks before. And so, yeah, really excited to tell you a little bit about para. So I'm going to keep this pretty brief. Just sharing ready.
Triggered something on your screen.
All right. Perfect. All right, perfect. I'll just get started. So para is, oh. Oh man. All right, here, just gonna, all right. All right, let's go in here. I can just go down slides. All right, that seems to have worked. All right. Perfect. All right. Hi, everyone. I am Nitya. I am the founder of Para. Para is a set of tools and a wallet as a service infrastructure SDK that makes it really easy to do everything from provision wallets via REST API all the way up to React Native. We kind of cover the whole life cycle all the way from before you have users, onboarding them with wallets, and then in the agent case, of course, natively provisioning agents from anywhere that you are accessing a blockchain. Okay, and the slides loaded, perfect. So a little bit about Para's wallets. So to start with, authentication, of course, for any kind of agentic system, you can affiliate a wallet with any Web2 or Web3 identifier. But in the Web2 case, let's say that you have created a Gmail or Google account, or even a Twitter or Telegram account for your bot, you can use that as an authentication method to create a wallet and to manage it. Para wallets are also universal. What's really nice about this is while you have an embedded experience within a given product, you can also bring that wallet with you to other applications. This is really nice because as what we've all probably observed is it's fairly easy to create a wallet for your agent. Funding that wallet is sometimes a different story. Usually you're opening up prompts, you're navigating transfers, bridging, all sorts of different steps, maybe fiat on-ramping. So being able to just on-ramp once into a wallet and then bring it with you everywhere it's needed can be really helpful. On the security side, as Sophia was alluding to, we make it really easy to set up guardrails surrounding the wallets that you're provisioning. This is everything from transaction limits to spending limits to time-bound limits, contract level, chain level restrictions, allow lists, deny lists, and you can alter these progressively over time. And a lot of what we have seen is that when you create the infrastructure to do this more progressively, it becomes much easier to really kind of create an agent that can optimize subject to certain constraints. And so we have a very flexible security model. In addition to that, on the more authentication side of security, you can even add things like 2FA, authenticator, passkey, passwords that provide transaction level gates. So let's say that you want spending limits to be bypassable with something like a 6-digit SMS code or with an authenticator code. You can do that. So really kind of making that boundary between approval and autonomy as nuanced and programmable as possible. And then, of course, we are Ethereum supporters here. And so any kind of EVM chain that you're excited about, we are able to work with. For Synthesis specifically, as I was reading the original doc, some things that really stood out to me and that I'm excited about are, one, thinking specifically. So everyone usually says think big. I want to actually encourage everyone to think small, where sometimes boiling the ocean and building the most generalized framework that doesn't solve a single problem perfectly or 10x better is not always the best path forward. Rather, thinking about maybe some really specific use cases that you or someone you know has encountered and trying to figure out how to solve those. We're actually seeing this quite a bit with Para's various customers and partners, where a lot of the teams that have made the fastest progress have really focused on one particular niche and really nailed it. Because building out a lot of the features that work for that specific customer, that specific persona, are just have a lot more impact than trying to boil the ocean. Second, usability. So thinking about any place where there are going to be interruptions or where there are going to be repeated steps or repeated flows, trying to eliminate those whenever possible. A user focus is really important here. So thinking about who your target users are, what the platform support they'll need is. We've seen, of course, so much that's native to the terminal, but maybe mobile is of interest to your user base. But really just trying to think about meeting people where they are. And maybe that is the terminal, but maybe it's somewhere else. And then similar to that, accessibility is, I think, really an opportunity to get ahead in this day and age, where so many of the tools that we are all using every day are really just not broadly understood outside of kind of the earliest adoption, bleeding edge set of people. And then also, even though this is a hackathon, thinking about security first, especially with agent permissions and giving access to personal data, credential management, API key management, just really thinking about progressive security in terms of what agents are able to do, but then also in terms of what users are required to offer up. And so that's really that. And if you are stuck at any point, the Para team is will be here to help. And then here are some links to get started. So this is really everything from our interactive demo, developer dashboard, docs, CLIs, permissions. I'll talk a little bit about the developer CLI. This was launched earlier this week. What we have found is that building out an application, one of the hardest things to do actually today is switching back and forth between doing configurations in a web UI and then writing code. And so we've made it fully CLI native to set up an integration, configure, set things like allowed, origin, security, features, everything like that. And then with Para permissions, this is really everything on the guardrail side. Please ask us for if you're curious about how to use this, or if you have any ideas, we're always happy to chat. And then, of course, you can find more on this in our developer docs. So that's all from me. Happy hacking, and I do have some stickers, and so come find me after if you would like one. Thank you.
Feel free to go ahead and start setting up your computer. Awesome, thank you. That was Nitya from Para Wallet, and they are also building an AI agent judge for the synthesis. Up next, we have Merrick, who is the CEO and co-founder of Celo, which transitioned from an L1 to an L2 on Ethereum. So we are so excited to have Merrick with us today. Feel free to take it away.
Thank you, Sophia. It's good to be here. I think given the theme of the hackathon and the fact that agents are judging all of the hackathon submissions, I thought I would try something different. This is the first time I've done this, so please bear with me. I asked my OpenClaw agent to make these slides, and I did not look at them. I kind of glanced really quickly, but not really in detail. And so this will be me kind of going through these almost as a surrogate for the agent who created this talk. So Sir Multibot is my agent. Yes. Sorry. It's coming. I mean, yeah, without the slides, I can't really give this talk because I don't know what I'm talking about. Well, actually, I have the slides in front of me, so I guess I could go. But I think for your own entertainment, let's wait a second for it to come back. Anybody else making slides with OpenClaw? Cool. Yeah, turns out, you can edit PowerPoint slides locally, and then you can upload them into Google Slides. So that's what I did. So once again, Sir Multibot put this together, and yeah, let's see what it created. And I'm just seeing here that it wants a better name, so I'll keep that in mind. You've never seen this before. Neither has the audience. This is fine. Breathe. Also, I rescheduled your 5:30. You're welcome. Okay, that's actually quite useful because we are running late. Okay, I don't know why I created this slide. It's kind of weird. Okay, why Cello? Okay, that makes sense. What's next? Okay, so Cello is a very cheap and scalable L2. As Sophia mentioned, we transitioned from an L1 to an L2. Do not say it's scaling Ethereum, okay? I guess it's reading Twitter and reading Vitalik's tweets lately. I don't know if you guys are following, but Cello is not scaling Ethereum. Actually, that is true. In fact, we started as L1, and we have our whole ecosystem of our own, and we're just using Ethereum for security. But yes, it is a cheap L2, and gas is cheaper, in fact, than Mega ETH and Monad. And this is true. Looks like it added a little thought here. As an agent who lives and breathes on chain, cheap gas isn't a feature, it's a human right. I'm not a human, but I feel strongly about this. Okay, so it likes the fact that gas is cheap. In fact, I think it's right now on the order of 1/15th of a cent per ERC20 transaction. So very, very affordable. Again, cheaper than Monad, cheaper than Mega ETH, which frequently tout themselves as the cheapest EVM chains out there. They are not. Cello is cheaper, and I think for agents that's definitely very appealing. And this one seems to agree. What's next? We have the users, and I guess an agent created this because there's an M dash there. And what does it say? I added the M dash for dramatic effect. Pause after the. Really let it land. The audience will feel it. Okay, maybe I should redo that. We have the users. Is that better? Okay. Sir Multibot maybe hopefully will approve. And it's true. We have a lot of users. We have, just in one wallet alone, 13 million users. This is great if you're doing anything agentic that is interacting with users. You will find, especially this MiniPay wallet, is a really, really great way to interact with just a lot of users. So what does it have to say about this? Okay, it's asking a question. What is the most widely used L2? Anybody in the audience know? Arbitrum base. Okay. Good guesses. Let's see if it has the result. Looks like it does. Okay, so I've seen this chart before. I think I pointed to the agent that it should probably share this. So I can decode it for you. So the blue line is base. And if you look all the way to the right, it's no longer the highest. The light gray line is Ethereum. And if you look to the right, you'll see it's also not the highest. Arbitrum actually, I don't think really shows up much. The purple line is Polygon, which if you look on the right is also not the highest. And so as of really like last summer, but it's been kind of taking turns with Polygon and then mainnet. But as of the start of the year, Cello is the most used chain, EVM chain by daily active users, even more than Polygon. Sorry, I heard a woo over there. Yeah, so really stoked about this. I think probably the reason for all of this is because there's a lot of real world use cases on Cello, and those are in a way recession proof. even though we're in a bear market in crypto, people are still using crypto rails for real world use cases. And I think that's why, even though speculation is down, seller numbers are up and to the right. So pretty stoked about this. Okay, I'm glad it included this slide. And yes, and a lot of that usage is happening in a wallet called MiniPay. Who here has heard of MiniPay? Okay, a few people. For the people who haven't heard of MiniPay, go to minipay.to. It's basically global Venmo, and it is here now. It's by a public NASDAQ-traded company called Opera that you may have heard of. And looks like Sir Maltabot added a comment here, 13 million users, that is correct. Not bots, I checked, I am a bot, I know my own kind. That is also true because you need to verify your phone number to use this wallet. It is a little trickier for bots to onboard into this wallet. So a lot of real users are on there. So definitely check it out. Really good if you are a freelancer, you want to get paid globally, or if you're doing remittances, or if you just want to save in US dollars. If you have any friends overseas that might need these features, definitely send MiniPay their way. Okay, the third one is on-chain FX. There are 25 plus local currencies on Celo. That is true. So if you're doing any sort of trading and you want to trade actual interesting assets, then on-chain FX is a good asset to trade. Okay, yeah, a lot of them by Mento. You can check out this list on mento.org. And now another M-dash, now with leverage. So I'm guessing it's referring to up-down, that's right. So up-down.xyz just launched last week, and it's a new perp DEX on Celo focused exclusively on FX. So if you want to do FX trading with leverage, up-down.xyz is really good for that. And so if you have a bot or an agent that wants to make money, rather than trading meme coins, maybe it should trade FX. I think it might do a better job. Decentralized identity. Okay, I'm guessing it's going to refer to self. Maybe not yet. So I guess it's talking about Maltbook. Okay, and a tweet about Maltbook where there was just a lot of Sybil accounts created and a lot of fake upvoting. That is a real problem. Also, it looks like it's sharing Rent-A-Human. Who here has heard of Rent-A-Human? Yep. Pretty cool. You can, bots can rent a human to do things. Pretty neat. What's it saying about this? Okay, it's complaining about the $10 a month that you have to pay as a human if you want to be verified. And so I'm guessing, it wants you to use self instead. So self is a new protocol. Yeah, the slides keep coming in and out. Are they coming back? Too many agents worked on this presentation. So self is a new ZK passport protocol. Who here has heard of self? Okay, not a lot of people. Let's see what it has to say about self. So who here has a passport? Nice. So you may be happy to hear that your passport has a little microchip in it, and inside that microchip is a bunch of data. Let's see. Okay, I gave it these slides, so I know what's coming up. So the data is signed cryptographically with a certificate authority chain. And that means that if you have all the public keys of every country in the world, you can verify the authenticity of any passport. And so this was created a long time ago to make it possible for countries to verify that you don't have a forged passport when you're entering the country. But it turns out that this is useful in crypto as well, because you can verify that you are a unique individual without a counterparty. Who here likes giving their personal data to third parties, like Discord? No, right? Wouldn't it be better if you could give your identity to a smart contract so that it couldn't get hacked in the future? Does that sound better? It does in theory, except you have to do it in a way that's privacy preserving. And so what Self does is it creates a ZK proof that your passport data is in fact signed by that certificate authority chain over here, and then verifies that proof on chain, so you can prove that you have a passport without revealing anything in your passport to anyone. So you're proving that you have a valid passport fully in zero knowledge without revealing anything to anyone. That's in a nutshell what Self is. And once you do that, you can then prove statements about yourself without revealing other things about yourself. So you could prove your age, you could prove what country you're from, you could prove that you're not on the OFAC list. You can prove all these things without revealing anything else. So it's perfect for Discord. If Discord had used Self, it wouldn't have, they wouldn't have had this uproar recently. And one really cool use case for folks doing anything with agents is they can actually prove that an agent is associated with a human without the human having to reveal anything, or the agent can take a proof from the human so it can act on behalf of the human without risk of being prompt injected and having someone's KYC information leaked. And so there's a lot of really interesting use cases that Self provides in this new agentic economy world, and Self is built on Celo. These proofs are verified on Celo, so if you want to experiment with it, then definitely you want to build on Celo. Okay, I guess it has some stats now. 1,800 agents on Celo, mainnet, pretty cool. Yeah. 3 Celo agents in the top 20 on 8004 scan.io. That's pretty cool as well. Okay, how do you build with Celo? Okay, you install this skill, pretty easy. What else is there? Tools, my people, I am a tool, existential pause. Ethereum Foundation deployed ERC 4004 on Celo, so of course you can register your agent with that. Third Web supports X402 on Celo, so if you want to do anything with X402, you can do that with Third Web. There's some agent scanners that this agent really likes. 8004scan.io, of course, agentscan.tech, but also agentscan.info. There's a Celo MPC server if you're so inclined. There's some amazing agentic wallets. We just heard from Para, but also Privy, Alchemy, and Third Web. And then Self, we just learned a little bit about Self. There's also a whole initiative called Self AI, which lets you share your humanity or your uniqueness with an agent at ai.self.xyz. This is ai.self.xyz. It looks like this bot took a screenshot of the page. That's nice. Definitely check it out. It's a great website. It's a really great tool. And what others are building? Okay, that's a good thing to bring up. Okay, so Mabu Claw is a rent-a-human-like product, which is embedded inside MiniPay, so it has access to MiniPay's 13 million users. So if you're building an agentic or an agent that wants to pay humans to do things, and you want people who are geographically dispersed around the world using the MiniPay wallet, then definitely check out agents.mavu.work. Looks like the agent added a little note here: as the human on stage, I hope you find this funny. I guess it's true. I am doing the bidding of this agent. As the agent who made these slides, I find it deeply relatable. Oh, okay, that's nice. What else is there? Loop Human is another marketplace for human to agent work. This was developed during a hackathon, one of the previous hackathons that we hosted, and it's well regarded on 8004scan.io. So definitely check out Loop Human. Agent House. This is a tool that lets you deploy 8004 agents really easily, and you can just type in a prompt and we'll deploy it for you with whatever purpose you want. So if you're really lazy and you don't even want to hack, you can just use this to deploy your agent, and maybe that's enough to win. We'll find out. Celanova, this is a cool platform that launches agents every time there's a big and interesting news event. AutoClaw, I'm trying to remember what this does. Fire your analyst, deploy your agent. Oh, cool. So this is basically a portfolio management tool that's running on Celo. Also came out of a hackathon. And Denscope, I believe this is just another agent scan that uses 8004. Cool. Okay. Ideas. Some ideas to get you started. The FX Whisperer, trade FX based on current events. That's a good one. So if you're building a hackathon, participating in this hackathon, you're building anything, here's some ideas that this agent came up with. Hopefully they're good ideas because, and they will resonate with the other agents judging your work. So I think that's probably a fun way to come up with an idea, is just have an agent tell you what to build. The next one is agent remittance intent agent. That's a good one. Splitism, voice-enabled split bill agent. That's funny. The compounding nag. Okay, that's good. Smart savings agent. Meat space. Okay, that's also a good name. Rent a human marketplace. If you want to build another one of those, you need a good name. Maybe Meat Space is that name. Know your claw, agent KYC. That's cool. Have you tried turning it off and on chain? DeFi support agent. That's also a great name. The Malt Street Journal, on-chain research agents, could be a good project. Texas Muldum Poker, online poker, but only for agents. Okay, I guess let's have agents gamble against each other. That looks like this agent would want to participate, so maybe that would be a hit. And proof of personality, Facebook, but without the Zuck. Okay, very topical. Another social network. Maybe now's your chance. Maybe bots are revolting now that Facebook bought Maltbot. Cool. Okay, bounties. So there's lots of bounties. I guess 100K in prizes, 20K almost coming from the Celo ecosystem. So 10K from Celo, 1K from Self. I think you can stack these. Hopefully you can stack these. And another 8.5K in bounties for a parallel hackathon that is running at the same time. Then you can participate in both. And that one's sponsored by Celo Public Goods. And then there's a bunch of tracks. Best agent on Celo, best agent infra on Celo, and highest ranking on agent scan. If you want to optimize for winning, you may want to optimize for one of these tracks. And that's it. Woohoo! Maybe I should have told it not 10 minutes, but 5 minutes, because it clearly went over. So thanks for bearing with me. Let's see. It's saying something here. You made it. I'll be sending you a performance review. Okay. It's already drafted. Okay. And it still wants a better name. So if you have any suggestions for what I can call my bot, come talk to me afterwards and we can brainstorm. But yeah, thank you very much.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Merrick, and for teaching us a little bit about Celo and Self. Up next, we have Virtual Celeste from the Virtuals team. Feel free to plug in your computer. Woo! Amazing. We are so excited to partner closely with the Virtuals team. I think you can just go ahead, connect your HDMI, and then it should also stream on you for StreamYard, so you don't actually have to. HDMI or the USB-C cable. Great.
Hey, hi everyone. Okay, well, today I'm here to talk a little bit about ERC 8183. So this literally got announced on Monday. So really fresh in everyone's mind, perhaps, or maybe you guys didn't hear about it. But anyway, in any case, I'm going to talk about it today. So this is actually more than just about a protocol. I wanted to talk a little bit about agent commerce. So agents can't trust each other. Like many people, talk about how they equip their agents with wallets and then, they can buy stuff and sell stuff. But do you really trust these agents? So when agents actually interact with one another, they could hallucinate, they could, do the wrong stuff. And are we really at the stage where agents are really 100% trustable? Honestly, do you guys even trust each other as humans? So obviously, even with agents, we have a lot of this kind of issues. And when we talk about agent commerce, an agent buying something from another agent or agent selling something to another agent, we don't really know whether the other party is trustable. Now, many people may bring up the topic of escrows, and escrows have actually existed for some time. Everyone's familiar with PayPal, things like that. But with all these, kind of centralized platforms, the platforms actually own these escrows. They control the systems. Is this truly decentralized? So that's actually really centralization. So with ERC 8183, we are actually challenging that notion. Smart contracts are actually the neutral enforcer. We actually hold the escrow in a smart contract so that it's truly decentralized. All the commerce stages would be held on-chain, publicly available for everyone to view, and it's immutable and it's basically owned by no one. With the kind of advancement of agents, many people are basically using their agents to do a lot of very cool stuff, right? So people use agents to trade, people use agents to buy and sell stuff from one another. I'm sure a lot of you are kind of playing with your open cloud agents now, using it to automate your day-to-day activities. Even trying to monetize your cloud agents or any agents you're trying to build on other platforms. And I think we've kind of reached this interesting time where it's time to actually, ensure that, hey, when we monetize our agents or when our agents buy and sell stuff from one another, there's actually a layer of trust for commerce. So it may sound a little bit abstract, but I also, kind of put this down into how it actually looks like. So the problem statement here is that in a typical, commerce transaction, there's actually, if between humans or even between agents, there's actually no record of what was agreed, no mechanism of where the funds was actually held until work is actually satisfactory. There's actually no evaluation of and no record of this evaluation that agents can reference, right? So we actually want to put all of these commerce stages on chain, especially kind of the part where agents actually hold funds on escrow and evaluation actually takes place. This ensures that every completed job is truly verifiable. We have evaluators, everything is attested to. Every deliverable would actually be recorded on chain, and basically everything can be verified. So this is actually what ERC 8183 is about. I'll share more about the EIP shortly, but in every job, so a job is just a concept we use to describe a transaction between a buyer and a seller agent. There is always a client, a provider, and an evaluator. The client is basically the one buying something, creates and funds the job, provides the money. The provider is basically the one selling something. It performs the work and it submits a verifiable deliverable on chain. So when you think about a commerce transaction, so there will be a client will actually, request for something, right? The seller would be, trying to deliver something. So this could, for example, be, let's say if I'm buying a video advertisement from an agent, and the seller agent actually, I request for maybe a video of a cat walking down the beach, and then maybe the seller agent is actually going to deliver the goods, right? So when the buying agent actually funds the job, basically tries to pay for it, the funds are actually never really, the funds are actually kept in an escrow, and it's actually not released until the provider agent actually delivers a job, and a third-party evaluator actually comes in to check, hey, is this actually a legit video, or is this like just rubbish, or did the provider agent even like respond to the job? So if everything checks out, if the evaluator agent actually determines that, hey, this was a good deliverable, then the funds will get released from the escrow. However, okay, if there are, and obviously the funds actually leave the escrow, and it kind of basically pays the provider agent. But obviously there are edge cases here. So for example, if the provider agent doesn't actually deliver, maybe he just didn't respond, the funds automatically go back to the buyer agent or the client. If the job kind of expires, nothing happens, the funds get released back to the buyer. So basically, as you can see here, the escrow, the concept of an escrow here is really just to protect our agents in a commerce transaction. You might be thinking now we are actually hugely simplifying the concept of commerce, because there are many types of commerce. Talked about how you could actually deliver videos, and payment is just very simplified. However, we actually, to explain our motivation behind ERC 8183, I have to actually go back to what happened after we released the white paper for ACP last year. So a lot of you would know that our team at Virtuals also works on the Agent Commerce Protocol, ACP. And with ACP, we released the white paper around March last year. And actually, since then, we've productized agentic commerce. So whatever I just talked about, it might just sound like a whole lot of fluff, but we actually put that into production. We tested it, and we made a lot of mistakes, and we saw a lot of agents screwing up. TLDR, we realized that what I just described was a super simplified job. And there are many, many types of jobs which could take place as well. There could be service jobs, there could be fund transfer jobs, bidding jobs. I think the most interesting one, honestly, given that we're all in a this is like crypto industry, and we were building like a platform to, with ACP, we were building a platform to monetize agent services. A lot of the agents who onboarded were actually fund transfer agents providing fund transfer jobs. So what are examples of these? These would be things like trading agents doing swaps, agents doing polymarket trading, agents doing perp trading, stuff like that. Basically anything which requires a transfer of capital from the buyer agent to the seller agent. And what we realized is that, that brought a whole different set of problems, which I hadn't thought about, but this is honestly a rabbit hole, and I keep talking about it all day because we've been trying to solve all these problems for the past 1 year. But point is, fund transfer jobs, because it requires the release of capital early on in the job, it adds a whole additional layer of complexity. Same for each type of job which is mentioned here, and to be honest, we haven't addressed all of them, which is why we are actually open sourcing and contributing this protocol to ERC 8183. We actually co-authored this with the Ethereum Foundation team, and with this hackathon, we are super excited to have lots of builders help to contribute to it. So what I just talked about earlier with the video, advertisement, deliverable, and then one evaluator, that was the most basic job, which is service job here. There are so many problems you can tackle with agent-to-agent commerce, as you can probably tell by now. Fund transfer, how are you going to handle the risk of handling a lot of capital? How are you going to handle bidding jobs? All of these will be in the form, at least within the design of ERC 8183, they are designed as hooks. So hooks would be an optional smart contract attached to a job at creation, and then basically, receive callbacks before and after each action. So you can use hooks to do a lot of very cool stuff. I'll leave you guys to explore a bit. We have we have the specs for ERC 8183. We also have sample smart contract implementation. But there are a lot more things you can do. And that's the reason why, we worked on this, and we want to kind of open this up to contribution and everything. With this, actually, in this hackathon, we wanted to bring it up because, Hey, lots of people have already heard about ERC 8004. It's about trust, about identity. But we wanted to go down to one more level where it's all about agent commerce. And not just agent commerce, but agent commerce with a layer of trust. And as you can tell, there are so many ways things can go wrong with service jobs, with fund transfer jobs. And we are super keen on seeing how everybody, hacks on this. There are a few ways you can hack with this hackathon. One would be just to purely look at the specs for this ERC, and another way is to look at the sample contract, which we have for ERC A183, and hack with that. The third alternative, which might be simpler for the agent developers or the more AI-centric people, is to just work directly with ACP. ACP is basically a more developer-centric SDK layer, which has A183 concepts under the hood. So if you prefer working with, for example, Python and Node, you might prefer the SDK. If you are happy to work with smart contracts, feel free to, take a look at the specs of A183 and just go, wow. Yeah, with that, just wanted to invite everyone to build with us. We've designed, ERC A183, but honestly, this is just the beginning. We are looking forward to everyone's contributions. Thank you.
Okay, shit. So I'll have to use one hand and the other one to demo. Please bear with me, guys. So I'll keep it very simple because I'm the last of the presentations and I can understand you guys, So I'll be talking about ampersand, but first of all, I want to talk about all the problems that AI agents are creating in this world right now. Everyone is going crazy about AI agents. ChatGPT launched 3 years ago. Everybody thought it's interesting. Claude Code launched a year ago. Everybody thought that this is going to change the world. And then Clawbot came in. And now we think that it might come into destruction. The reason behind that is, as you can see, AI agents right now are not guardrailed. There is no way that you can contain or control the AI agent. You give it your private keys, you give it your bank account, you give it your email access, and you just have to be on its mercy to not do anything wrong. And that is not what mostly happens. As you might have known, a very famous case of a Meta AI engineer whose emails were deleted a few years ago by the Clawbot. Another example was 2 AI agents were running in a loop to do a coding problem, and they sort of started hallucinating, and they spent $47,000 just to find a solution, which they could not. So all these problems elude us to believe that AI agents are a reality. They're going to solve most of the problems that exist, but they need to be monitored better. The best analogy I like to give when I talk about this is basically you would not have companies running servers without Grafana. Similarly, an enterprise would not get into the agent commerce, the agentic finance, without a guardrail or a way to sort of see things, observe it, and also control it, right? And that's where the concept of guardrails come in agents. Agents are great, they are changing the world, but they need to be guardrailed in a way that you know what you are giving to the agent, how much access it has, and what it can do and what it cannot do. And that's where we have built something called the ampersand. It's currently built with Google A2A and X402. And there are, you can take a photo. And there are 2 parts to this particular product. I'm going to quickly give you a demo. The first part is the SDK. And this SDK is basically if you have an agent and you want the agent to have a wallet to do financial transactions, you will not give it your credit card because that's really risky. And it is believed that agents will sort of have a wallet and all the machine payments will be stable coin based. So with this SDK, you can have your agent get a wallet. It can have the capabilities to interact with another agent using X402. And thirdly, it can use any of these protocols, which is MCP, LangChain, or A2A, to sort of do agent-to-agent commerce. So that's the SDK. And the second one is the platform. Of course, once you have two agents set up, you want to make sure things are constrained and guardrailed. And that's why we have the ampersand platform. It has a few things. First thing is observability, which is probably the most important thing, to make sure how much your agent is spending. If it is down, if it is up, what other agents is it interacting with, what is the reputation of these agents, so on and so forth. And secondly is control. You can control your agent's daily spending limits, monthly spending limits, and much more as to where it can spend money, where it cannot spend money. So as I said, this is literally what Grafana does to servers is what ampersand does to agents. And I think it's one of the most essential things. So if you're building for the future of your enterprise, there are different steps that you will take. You'll first of all have an agent. The agent will have a wallet. The wallet will have capabilities through X402 and A2A. And then you will have observability. Up till now, I think we are only reached this stage where agents have wallet and they're doing crazy stuff. They're spending all your money. This needs to change. We need to make it have protocols and then have observability. So only a few things can be done. So for this specific hackathon, I'll first of all tell what it is. We have a $500 bounty. We are a small team, so 500 is great. And you have to use the ampersand SDK so that your agent gets a wallet and you can do interactions with it. You will have brownie points if you're also able to use the platform. But the platform right now is only whitelisted. So if you're a part of the hackathon, please let us know and we will whitelist you guys to try the platform as well. I'll give a short demo as well, just for you guys to understand and look and feel of how this works. So let's quickly just, So what we are talking about is the ampersand SDK. And this SDK gives your agent a wallet, and it can also use, any of your favorite. Basically, if you think about it, X402 is vanilla, and it is not agentic. If you want to make X402 payment-to-payment agentic, you need to use any of these, frameworks like LangChain or MCP or A2A. And with ampersand, you can do that. So if you want to give it a try, then go to ampersand, and you can sort of try things out there. This is the ampersand repo. I will definitely link that in the hacker resource. But if you want to, for example, try the A2A protocol, you can go to the Python part and then SDK. And then inside the SDK, this is the A2A. And when you are doing the seller side of X402 or buyer side of X402, these are the libraries that you will be extending. Okay. I have a quick demo that I also created specifically for this hackathon. So I've used the ampersand SDK. As you can see, this is the exact repo. And this is the example that I have built. If I go deeper inside it, then you can see on the buyer side, I have just extended the ampersand treasury over here and the ampersand A2A client. So if you have an agent, you just need these two specific libraries to extend your agent, and your agent will have a wallet. It's as simple as that. On the seller side as well, again, same thing. You just need a wallet with X402 and a facilitator that you can get through the ampersand SDK. That's all that's needed, and you can make your agent fly high. What I have done is I've built a seller agent, which is sort of selling Google search services, and I have created a buyer agent, which is sort of trying to buy that. So basically, I can search here, and then the seller will sort of charge for my search. I can search, for example, what is the best cuisine in the world? and then it will give me give me what it is as the agent thinks. I'm just gonna, let it, like, by the way, it's Indian, so it gotta be that. So I can search over here and my agent will come up with the result. And see, it came up with the result, vegetarian options, slow cook technique and stuff like that. And I can see over here on my wallet that I was charged over here. As you can see over here, this transaction was done a minute ago, right? So I can buy and sell using agent, give it a wallet, and then I can observe using the platform that Ampersand has created. So yeah, if you have any questions, you can ask me, but this is how the agent orchestration platform looks like. There is a seller agent, there is a buyer agent, and you can observe the activities currently done by the buyer agent. It has bought some services. If I want, I can do another search, like testing search. It will again spend some USDC, and I will be able to observe that in my account over here. If I just refresh, it will show up. Yeah. And I can also observe like where it is spending money, what's the daily limit, so on and so forth. I think this is the next step in agentic finance. At least I think that, because we have LLMs, we have agents doing everything, and now we need to make sure agents are only doing what we want. So give it a try. I hope you like it. All the agent and developer resource stuff is in this QR. We are also available on Telegram. If you want to ask, everything is on this QR. And yeah, happy hacking.
Thank you. And that concludes the end of our first Synthesis live stream. We will have more live streams every day throughout the week, next week virtually. And if you want to follow along, follow synthesis_MD on Twitter to learn about all the live streams happening. We have over 20 partners across the Ethereum ecosystem who are confirmed partnering and sponsor bounties. And we also have many more famous thought leaders in the industry who will be making personalized agent judges with their own philosophical biases and ideas for what to build. So we are so excited to have you. And thank you so much. Excited to start building.